John chapter 19. John chapter 19, just a tip. How ought we to treat our mothers? Hey, how ought we to treat mothers? And we have a pretty good example of that. In John chapter 19, we talked about this actually not too long ago, one of the 7 sayings of Christ. Or as I heard someone say, the 7 words of Christ. Not words, it's the 7 sayings of Christ on the cross. He spoke a lot more than 7 words, but he did speak 7 sayings. And let's see. John chapter 19, verse 25. Now there stood by the cross Jesus, his mother, and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother, and the disciples standing by, whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then saith he to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour, that disciple took her unto his own home. So here we have Jesus is on the cross. It's one of his last words that he will utter. After this, he says, I thirst. Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. It is finished. That's it. So this is after the penalty, the sin has been made. Sins have been atoned for. And what's the first thing he does? Is he says to his mom, he says, Mom, John, the beloved apostle, one standing next to you, he's going to adopt you as his new mom. And that same day, John, the beloved apostle, took Jesus' mother Mary into his home, and until her death, she became as his mom. He became as her son. Think of all that Jesus could have said. Think of the greatness of the powerfulness of the words. Jesus has 7 sayings. He talks about the atonement, how it is finished, how he voluntarily left this earth as a martyr, or how he laid down his life, he wasn't killed, he voluntarily gave it. He talked about the salvation of the thief that was next to him on the cross. Think of those sayings that he made, and one thing that he wanted to emphasize for all of eternity, he wanted everyone to know, whether you're the greatest man that ever lived, whether you're as wise and as rich as Solomon, and as handsome as Joel, no matter how great you are, no matter what a good guy you are not a good guy if you don't know how to treat your mother. And that goes for daughters as well. Jesus made it an example, a point on the cross that says, I'm summing up my ministry here. That means I'm summarizing, I'm putting a period to the end of my ministry. It's coming to an end. I'm on the cross, I'm about to die. And before I die, before I say I thirst, before I say it is finished, before that, before I finish everything up, I have one last thing to say. I want the whole world to know how you ought to treat your mother. Treat her with respect that she deserves for what she's done for you. So it was very important to Jesus. He began his ministry prematurely, in other words, earlier than he would have liked. But he began his ministry, his public ministry, because of a request made by whom? Made by his mother. He's not planning to go to the wedding at Cana and turn the water into grape juice. Not planning to do that. It's not time for him to do miracles and to start his public ministry for all to know about him. But his mother said, can you do this for me? And as an ultimate example of humility and honor and respect towards his mom, Jesus said, for no one else, I'll do this. But Jesus says, I'll do it for you, Mom. Jesus learned how to show respect for his mother. He did not forget, even in his death. He made sure that his mom was taken care of for the rest of her life. we'll see that a lot of people, they succeed as great men in history. Great men and women of history. But they failed to be good. Because they failed to take care of their family. They failed to honor their father and their mother. That's one of the things that gives us promise of long life, is how you'll treat your mom. You want to live long? Generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, God will give you longer life if you treat your mother well. And Jesus wants to make sure that He sets down the example. Let's turn down to, I want to just also give out a couple of pointers for mothers as well. Well, let's start out with Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. So for the mothers, how can you be a good mom? How can you be a better mother? Ephesians 6, 4 is talking to fathers, so definitely this is applicable to fathers, but also it will help mothers as well. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Now let's look at the sister passage to this, and that is Colossians chapter 3, verse 21. Colossians chapter 3, 21 and 22, it says, Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. So here we see these two verses that's talking about fathers in raising their children, and he says, do not provoke them to wrath. Okay, do not, and it says even here, lest they be discouraged. If a father talks harshly, and by wrath, I mean raise your voice. You could say, to make it more understandable, more relatable, is fathers, don't raise your voice with your children. Don't get angry. Don't provoke them to wrath. Now, if they're in danger or they're really sinning, and you really want to show wrath towards that sin, okay. But if you're going to be quick to be angry at your children and be quick to just explode in anger and wrath, your child is going to be discouraged, and you're going to turn them away from God. You're going to discourage them to talk to you. You will discourage them to open up to you. If you have a father or a mother that's quick to be angry, you're going to find that your children are going to have a very hard time opening up and telling you honestly what they're going through, what they're struggling with. And as a mom and as a dad, you don't want that to happen. You don't want them to go to their barcadas at the schools and ask them what they think should be done. So, let's look at one more verse. Let's talk about that a little bit more. James chapter 1. James chapter 1. James chapter 1. Forgot what verse it is. Well, swift here. James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Often I will see people, pastors even, they'll lose their temper and they'll get mad and they'll show forth their wrath. And when you ask them, well, maybe you should not deal with people with wrath. Maybe you should deal with them kindness. And they'll say, I just hate sin this much. It's because for God it's righteous anger. I'm like the prophet Elijah, calling down fire from heaven. Okay? Well, none of you are Elijah. None of you are going to call down fire from heaven. Okay, so you do not need to compare yourself with the great prophets in the Bible. Okay, they have special circumstances. You do not need to show wrath when you're with discipline. Okay, discipline is when there's punishment so that way the one receiving the punishment will be made whole. Okay? So for example, if a child is doing wrong and they are in sin, they need discipline. If they don't get discipline, what's going to happen? They're going to get deeper and deeper and farther along into their sin. So as you know, you need to exercise discipline. And the Bible recommendation, command for that is to spank them. Spank them in the backside. That's what the Bible says. So you do that, not because you want to hurt them, but because you want to help them, so they do not go deeper into sin. And then there's anger. Okay? Never let those two meet up. Don't let those two join together. Okay? There's wrath and there's discipline. Keep those as far away from each other as you possibly can. If you're going to discipline, make sure it's not in wrath. Wrath is not needed for discipline. What is needed for discipline? That the one receiving it understands that what they're doing is wrong, and it's not worth it to continue to do wrong. So if someone is living in sin and God is going to discipline them, He's going to hurt them so much that the pain from their discipline is not worth whatever enjoyment they get from their sin. That's discipline. Wrath from us, from mankind, should not go hand in hand with discipline. Keep it at opposite ends of the room. If you discipline, do not do it in wrath. Why not? Because wrath comes from your own self. Wrath is your own way of dealing with something. Discipline is dealing with the sin in someone else. So in other words, don't say because I have wrath, I need to satisfy my own wrath, and this person here needs discipline. I will discipline this person and at the same time satisfy my wrath. That's two separate issues. Those are two separate things. Don't bring them together. Don't marry wrath and discipline. And I'm going to tell you what will happen. Okay, this is just how it is. This is what's going to happen. When a mom and a dad discipline and wrath, means they get mad and they shout at their child, or they get so mad they hit their child. Their hand is not a good idea. Don't do it in wrath. You're going to discipline. Don't do it while you're angry. But if you're going, but here's what happens. A mom or a dad will discipline and wrath. They'll react. And the discipline will become a reactionary thing. In other words, if the child does something wrong without the wrath of their mom or dad, the child will not be disciplined. But if the child does the exact same thing, and this time it does get the wrath of the parents, what have you taught the child? Did you teach the child what they're doing is wrong? No. You have only taught that child not to get mom and dad angry. And that means if they get God angry, it doesn't matter how much they hurt God, as long as they don't get mom or dad angry. So what mom and dad, when they get angry, when they discipline, all they are doing is just training their children to fear them instead of fearing God. And instead of fearing their punishment, to fear the wrath of their mom and dad. That's provoking them to wrath. That's being swift to wrath, instead of slow to wrath. Swift to hear. And then what happens as the child grows older? Well, as they're younger, all they try to do is avoid the wrath of mom and dad. They don't care that what they've done is between themselves and God. They only care about themselves and their mom or dad. Let me give you an example. Okay? Let's say that you tell a child, no running. Okay? And when they're in the church and you say no running, and they keep running and they knock over something and they break Doc Charm's expensive camera. Okay? What's going to happen to the parent if he tells the child no running and the child runs and breaks the camera in the church? I'll tell you what's going to happen. That parent is going to be filled with wrath. And that child's going to be disciplined. Going to get spanked. It's fine that they get disciplined, but what happens if the parent says, don't run, And the kid runs anyway. Doesn't knock anything over, doesn't push any old ladies down the steps. He just runs. Guess what? The child did the exact same sin. But this time the parent did not get angry because no wrath, because did not hurt anyone, did not embarrass them, did not break anything. So the child gets no discipline and there's no wrath. What did you teach that child? Taught the child it's okay to disobey me as long as it does not make me angry. And then sometimes when they're at home, we say, don't run, and they run. And they're at church, and we say, don't run in church. And we get angry because they disobeyed us in front of other people. But we don't care if they disobey us when we're alone. What have you taught that child? You taught that child it's wrong to embarrass you. And that is wrong. We want the child to say, you have disobeyed. And disobedience to your parents is a sin against God. Doesn't matter if they break something, or they don't. Or they do it in front of people, or they do it privately in the house. The problem is disobedience. And because of that disobedience, mothers and fathers, we need to be strict and say, we cannot allow your disobedience to go unpunished. And so how do we punish them? Well, we should do it without wrath. So when we do it in wrath, what do we teach the children? We teach them it's okay to disobey mom and dad. It's not okay to get them angry. And they're going to resent you. But all they're going to do is fear your wrath and not fear God. And finally, guess what's going to happen to them as they grow older? You set an example when you discipline your children in wrath. You do. You don't want to, but that's too bad. You do. And when you discipline your child with wrath, reactionary, anger, shouting, getting mad, raising your voice, when you discipline your child with wrath, you react quickly in wrath. What do you think your child is going to grow up to do when he has a problem at work? When he has a problem with his spouse? When he has a problem disciplining his or her children? Guess how you have taught them to react? In wrath. You're teaching a bad example. You're giving your children a bad lesson in life. I see from my kids, even though they're very young, I can see they'll have that hot temper. What do you call that? Evangelist got it. Madaling got it. They're so quick to get mad so fast. And that's something that's going to harm them. I tell my children, younger ones, I say, you better learn to control your temper. That's going to get you in a lot of trouble one of these days. And I mean it. People even in your own life. I can think of in my own life. When I was angry, and out of my anger, the reaction that I had, I got angry and I reacted in anger and I regretted it. I pretty much always do. When I get angry and I react out of wrath, pretty much always I'm going to regret it. And we teach our children, mothers and fathers, we react in anger towards our children when they do something wrong. All we are doing is teaching them that it's okay to react with wrath. And they grow up and they cannot control themselves at work, they cannot control their families, they cannot control themselves. I believe it's Proverbs that says something like a man who cannot control his own wrath, his own self, is like I forget what, an unwalled city or something. Something that it's something you can't control. So mothers on Mother's Day, one thing that will make you a great mom, a better mom, and fathers for us as well is all of us, not just mom and dad, but all of us is try not to allow wrath to build in your life. Try not to ever exercise discipline in wrath. If you are angry and you feel like you need to spank your child, just wait for that wrath to pass. Don't do it in anger. Don't discipline your child for you so you feel better. Discipline your child so it's for them. Not because you need it, but because they need it. Okay, that's just a practical tip. It's something I see out of moms and dads all the time, and the Bible warns us in the 3 verses we saw today. Don't do it. Don't do it. Try not to do it. You feel that wrath coming, and you feel that rage, and you just want to get angry. Just say, I'm not going to give in to the flesh. And also, mothers, just think of what Mary, mother of Jesus, think of the importance that Christ placed upon her. It's like Christ is saying, hey, if you want to be successful as a person in a ministry, as anyone, as a human being, the most basic thing that you can do as a human on this earth, forget being a great, wise king or pastor or anything, most fundamental basic. You want to be a decent human being, and you're going to be a person that's going to do well and succeed and be profitable in life. Don't forget, treat your mom well. Treat her with respect and with dignity. Honor her all the days of her life.